Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Jace Young video. I want to take 10 minutes of your time to talk about a franchise that has changed video games for me. The series is over 30 years old, it's action-packed, it's spooky, it's scary, it's fun, and by the title you already know, it's Resident Evil. And for the first time in 2026, I decided to sit down and see what the hype was all about. And let me tell you, I get it. I understand the hype. These games are awesome. And I want to talk to you about why I am so excited for Resident Evil Requiem, which is the 9th game in the series coming out later this month, and why Resident Evil has really changed video games for me. Now, before we get to that point, I gotta tell you about how I even jumped into this series. If you've been following along on the channel, at the latter end of the year, I released a new series called Retro Resell. Basically, to break it down for you, I take items that are underpriced on Facebook, purchase them, and then resell them for what they're actually worth in order to collect the most amazing GameCube collection you've ever seen. And if you know anything about the GameCube, one of the most popular and what people say is one of the best games to come out on the console is this one, Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4.
Now, I got this game in the first episode of the series. Somebody came into a game shop and traded in like a huge stack of GameCube games, which if you know, they're super tough to come by. And so it was awesome for me to go through this entire stack and really end up on what I think is probably the funnest game to date that I've played on the GameCube, Resident Evil 4. Though I will say Twilight Princess definitely gives it a run for its money. Now, I actually first jumped into this game last year in 2025, so don't hate me too much for the title, but I enjoyed the crap out of it. It took me about a month and a half to 2 months to get through the entire thing. It's about a 16-hour game, which, from a guy who never finishes games... Take that, Parker, who says I never beat games. I thought that was pretty good for me, pretty quick, and I enjoyed it. It's awesome. It's action-packed, it's spooky, it's an adventure, there's horror, it's like an action movie. There's so many different ways to describe this game, and I loved it. Basically, you're thrown into this world somewhere in Spain, I believe, and you play as the character on the front cover here, Leon S. Kennedy. He is a special agent for the government, and his mission is to save the president's daughter, who has been kidnapped by like this evil cult who infects all their people with a deadly virus. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of lore right off the rip. Let me tell you, it kind of is, but it's awesome. It seems over the top, and that's because it is. It's a super over the top game. Leon is your classic action movie hero. He's got the one-liners.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
It's like he's an 80s movie action hero. He jumps, does flips outside of windows, dodges chainsaws by doing backflips, and like I said, just has the cheesiest one-liners in the world. The game takes you to 3 different locations. You start off in a village, head to a medieval castle, and then finish it off on an island. And along the way, there's all of these different awesome subplots of different characters, a secret lady from his past, a previous war buddy, and everything that has to do with this entire cult and the president's daughter all wrapped up into one. It's awesome, and if you've never tried it before, 2026 is the year to jump into Resident Evil and to get on that hype train. Now, I know it's kind of interesting. I started with Resident Evil 4. It was just highly revered on the GameCube, and after a little research, didn't really seem like I needed to play the other games first to jump into that one. And now, having played all of the games that I have, I would still say that's true. It's awesome to know the lore and understand the backstory a little bit more, but again, you don't need it, and you should just play this game. It's really fun. The controls are a little wonky. It takes a second to get used to, but there is also a remake of the game that came out just a couple of years ago, and it modernizes those controls, and honestly, it's a great time, and might even be better than the original. You know, I don't, that could cause some hate here in the comments, but I had an awesome time with it, and I really enjoyed it. Now, after playing this game, I decided to jump into the original Resident Evil, the first game in the series, and let me just say, it is tough to go back and play it. In 2026, the controls are rough. It uses what are called tank controls, and you gotta take an hour or two to really play through the game and get past that in order to love it. Because if you do, it's awesome. It's a great game, but the controls suck, and they're tough to get used to. But once you're used to them, you'll love them, and you'll have a great time with them. The original Resident Evil also uses these fixed camera angles. It's basically as though the entire game is a movie, is the best way that I could describe it. As you walk further into a room, the camera angle changes to a different spot. It's like a camera's watching you. It's hard to describe it, but I'm sure I'm playing footage on the screen here for you to be able to see exactly what this looks like. It's tough to get used to, but it adds to the spookiness because you can't control your camera. The game controls it for you, and that's what creates kind of that horror movie feel. I really enjoyed the first Resident Evil game. It was super fun. Took me probably another 2-ish months to be able to get through. And let me tell you, after that, I flew through the rest of the games in the series. I then played through Resident Evil 2, which... it's a tough call if this one is my favorite or if Resident Evil 4 is. In both of them, you play as Leon Kennedy. He's my favorite character in the games, and I fell in love with him in 4 and really enjoyed seeing his backstory in 2. I love them both for different reasons. If you have the time, you gotta play them. And let me just say, there is also a remake of Resident Evil 2, which really modernizes it and makes it kind of this fun, spooky adventure that you just gotta try. After completing Resident Evil 2 in less than a week, I decided to jump into Resident Evil 3. You play as a different character in this one, a character who you also play as in the first Resident Evil game named Jill Valentine, and you are pursued by this giant monster thing called Nemesis, and he's got to be the coolest villain in the series. He's so much fun. Just the whole game you're on your toes because he's after you and trying to kill you, and he'll just be, doing a random thing and he busts in and tries to get you. I could rant about these games forever, but just to say, I completed Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and 4. I went back and played Resident Evil 0 as well as Code Veronica. I loved some of them more than the others, but all of that to say, I just really enjoyed this series. It's awesome. Now, it's important to talk a little bit about gameplay when you talk about Resident Evil. Like I said, the fourth one is more action-based, while the first 3 are survival horror, as they call it. Lots of puzzles that you have to solve along the way, and you're very limited on ammo. You got zombies trying to kill you all the time. You have to pick and choose the fights that you're in. You can't just kill every single zombie that you ever come up against, because then you won't have enough ammo when you really need it in the boss fights. The game is so fun. I especially loved in Resident Evil 2. Before playing the game, it comes up with this text on the screen and says, "You are now entering the world of survival horror." And I loved that. It just felt cool and like an experience every time that I was jumping into the game. Like I said, the controls are something you have to get used to, but in 2026, I cannot recommend enough how much you should jump in and play these games. And like I said, there are some remakes. Try those out. They really modernize the gameplay. Now, why has Resident Evil changed the game for me, and why am I so pumped for Resident Evil 9? Honestly, it's simple. My little brother in the last year or two has said something that just ruffles my feathers, and that's you simple words. You never finish games. And the worst part about this is it's completely true. I am partway through so many games right now, if you even want to call it that, because it's been years that I've been playing them. Ghost of Tsushima, God of War Ragnarok, Silent Hill 2 Remake, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I started all these games, played them, had a great time, but never finished them. I don't finish games. The real only exception to that is Pokemon. As you guys probably know from watching my channel, Pokemon's one of my favorite franchises, and I will always play the new games that come out. I will always beat all of the games. Whether people say they're great, whether they say they suck, I don't care. I play through all of these games because I love them and I have a great time, and I do finish them. And why Resident Evil has really changed gaming for me is because it has brought me to a series that I love and has made me realize I can play through and finish a game. And I know that sounds dumb, but I love these games so much and I had such a great time with them. I didn't want to put the controller down and I wanted to get through them. And it helped helped me realize what I really like in a game. What I loved about the first 2 Resident Evils is they're not crazy long. They're short games. I finished them each in, 6-ish hours, and that's great. I don't need a 30-hour masterpiece in order to enjoy playing video games. I like things that are spooky. I like being on the edge of my seats. I enjoy a good story, and I feel like these games check all of those boxes for me. Recently, I got a Switch 2, and I am just so excited to jump in and play Resident Evil 9 Requiem when it comes out in just 2 weeks. I haven't played through Resident Evil 7. I haven't played through 8. To give you some context, like I said, I played through those first 6 games that I mentioned. I'm partway through Resident Evil 5 now. It's co-op, so I'm playing it with my brother, and I also finished the Resident Evil 2 remake, and tonight, hoping to finish up the Resident Evil 4 remake, which, hate to say it, might be a little bit better than the original. Maybe. People might hate me for saying that, but it's awesome. It's a really great time. But I was so stoked to see that they came out with a collection for the Switch. I'm a sucker for those now that I'm a video game collector. And this collection on the Switch 2 comes out with Resident Evil 7, 8, and 9. And it was only like $90. So I cannot wait for Resident Evil to release in the next few weeks on the Switch 2. And I really hope they bring the remakes over as well. But honestly, what's so exciting to me about Resident Evil 9 Requiem is it really seems like it's blending what makes Resident Evil great. I told you the first games were more kind of spooky, horror-filled puzzles, conserving your ammo, while Resident Evil 4 leans way more into the action side of things. And what's cool is it looks like this game is going to balance those two things really well. Leon, my favorite character, is back at it again. He is here in Resident Evil 9, and his action segments really look like Resident Evil 4. The other half of this game, you are playing as Grace Ashcroft. Not a character I'm familiar with at all, but her segments look really spooky. You can do it from this first-person perspective, which I believe is something you can do in 7 and 8 as well. And just feels like those are going to be really the tense situations that I am familiar with from the first 3 Resident Evil games. And then I will get to play the other half as Leon and really enjoy those action segments that I loved so much from Resident Evil 4. Listen, thanks for coming to my little rant today. I love these games. I have enjoyed playing them so much over the past few months. I needed a place to just sit and talk about them because they're awesome. So comment down below, are you excited for Resident Evil 9? Are you going to be picking it up on launch day and playing it until you beat it? Because I know I am. Anyways, that is all, guys. Hope you enjoyed this new style of video. If you're into it, I'd love to talk about other video games and things that I've enjoyed. We do a lot of that here on the channel, so subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in the next one.